Let's find out where the main sheet is and what does the main sheet do.
I see sheet marked right there.
Main sheet. Right. Okay. And what does that do?
It raises the
It raises main sheet.
it controls the boom.
Controls the boom.
Okay.
Lets the boom in or out. Okay. So this is important. Once you
Right.
get the sail up, this is important to use that.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's right here. I also put the main sheet on the winch and leave this open because in heavy winds, you can actually get overpowered. It gusts, say you're going along the lee side of an island, and then if you're going past the hill, it gusts from 10 knots to 25 knots. That extra power will push the boat over and round it up.
Right.
Unless you release it really quick. That lets the boom out and takes the power out. That's the reason. You're not going to get to experience that a whole lot this week because the winds are low.
So you're going to leave it slack so that it can.
Well, you leave it because you're sailing, so you want to keep it trimmed properly.
Okay.
But then if it gets overpowered, you got to let it out because
Okay.
the
So
boat
it's-
will
so
actually it'll
somebody
push
can-
the boat over and then round it up.
So you'd say release the main sheet or something.
Yeah, release the main. Yep. Okay. Next is the halyard. It's got a main halyard. What's this? What function is the main halyard?
To lift the main thing?
To raise the mainsail. Right. So when we first raise the main, we're using that until we get all the way up, and then we harden it up. We want to make sure the luff, the forward edge of the sail is nice and tight. So it doesn't look crinkly. And then we store the main halyard over there out of the way. Next to that is called a boom. Boom vang. What's the function of the boom vang?
Keep them tight down.
When would you use that?
When you raise the sail, when you're raising the sail, yeah, just to kind of.
No, nothing to do with that. Nothing to do with that. It's when you sail. So what the boom vang is used for, when you're going upwind, the closer to the wind you sail, the closer the boom is to the center. So what's holding the boom down? The main sheet.
Oh.
Because it's close to center. The further off the wind you sail, you're letting the boom out. Until you go past the beam reached, then you're going downwind. So downwind now, this is way out. The boom can go up and down. Use a boom vang to hold the boom down because when you're going downwind, you want to flatten that, introduce as much of the sail to the wind and flatten it because the wind's pushing from behind.
Okay.
That's one of the reasons. Second reason, you can also use the boom vang to flatten the sail again if you're getting overpowered. You can flatten the sail as well so you're not being reach. The flatter the sail, less draft, less power to the sail. Both. The only thing you have to worry about today at the basic level is that it's used for working. Right? This next one is called outhaul. So you've got you've got the head of the sail, you've got the tack, which is the front part of the sail, it's trying to go in front that holds the foot down, if you will, and then forward the left side. And then you've got the clew, which is at the back of the sail. So tack, clew, head. So you've got it fastened, the tack at the sail, at the forward end of the sail. You raise the main, the head, the halyard holds that out, so you've now got what's called the luff, the forward edge of the sail hardened. You don't have anything hardened back at the start. So that's what the outhaul does start when you're in full sail. And this leads into what I'm telling you, this leads into reefing. So that now you have all three areas firmly held in place. Now, what we have here is reef 1, reef 2. We also have reef 1, reef 2 here. We also have a topping lift, spinnaker downhaul. We're not going to get into that just for a second. Right now we're just going to get into reefing. So when you reef, when would you reef? What's the idea of reefing?
High wind, so you need to
High
bring the sail
winds,
down a
so
little
you
bit.
need less sail. So you need less sail coverage because of high winds. And you reef 1, reef 2, depending on the wind. This boat up to about 13 knots, 14, is fine with full sails. You start getting up 16, 17 knots, you want to reef once. You get over 20 knots, you want to reef twice. Okay? With the main sail, so that's what these two are. Okay. This is nice. This boat here has reefing points on the tack, the forward side of it, as well as the clew. The clew or the aft side of the sail. All right. So what I like about it is if you're in the heavy seas and you need to reef, either one out, you can do it all from here. Okay, because some mainsails you actually drop the sail and you actually take the kringle and clip it to a ram's horn so it holds it at the forward side. And you still use the halyard to raise it, and you still then reef the clew of the sail, the stern part of the sail. Other ones have what's called a jiffy slab reefing, where it goes up, it goes to the clew here, back to the boom, it goes up to the stern. So you tighten or you harden both the forward tack side and the aft clew side at the same time. This one has two separate ones. Once you understand it, that's the biggest thing. So if you ever go to charter a boat, when you get to that level, you need to know, and you ask them. That's the nice thing about charter companies. They'll come back and review you. Sometimes you got to push them because they sort of get, oh, this is just the same old another day, you know, but you got to say, I want to show, I want to see what everything is for. And that's their job. Okay? So the first thing you do is you set the reef. You set this reef here, and you harden the halyard because you've hardened down the first reef. So now it'll go up usually about 4 or 5 feet less until it's hardened.
Okay, hang on, sorry. So you tell us we want to reef.
We want to reef. Make that decision before you even leave the mooring wall. We're going to reef today, based on the forecast.
Oh, you don't do it when you're out there and the wind comes up.
That's why you see me checking the weather every morning.
Okay.
All right.
So you
So
tell
I
us
made
now.
a decision. All right.
All right.
And that's as a skipper, you make that decision. Do I reef or not? And it's always best if you're uncertain, reef, because you can always shake it out later.
Okay.
But it's hard to put a reef back in.
So
Okay. So
when you reef, so the mainsail is all the way up. What does the reefing thing do?
So the mainsail, so say it's blowing 20, 25 knots.
Yeah.
You have the mainsail all the way up. You're so overpowered, it keeps rounding up. How do you reduce the power?
So on like the racing boats, you would just go up and bring down the mainsail, then hook it in to the reef, like you said.
Right.
Yeah.
You're reefing the mainsail.
Yeah.
this is
right.
this.
So
What
that's
we're
what
doing.
this is doing. So rather than a hook, rather than a ram's horn or a hook at the tack, there's a line that does the same thing.
Ah.
I harden it down, it does the same thing. And I can do it all from here, so I don't have to send crew up.
Right.
You know,
And what is actually, is it rolling it? How's it reefing?
I'm just having a hard time picturing it.
Let's go up. Okay, let's hold this up and let's walk up. We'll show you. I would harden that down here, right? Like so. And have it all fastened in here. Now we've done the same thing as taking this and hooking it to a hook. Now we raise the main. Okay. You follow me?
You do it before
Right.
raising.
Yeah, I do it before. Yep. I'm gonna pull this all back out again because today we're. There we go. I gotta repair this. I know it's something. And then this is the second reef. So it's further. Sorry, this is the first reef. This is the second reef. So this we do if you just want to reef once. If it's like 17, 18 knots or 20 knots. So if it goes over 20 knots, then you want to reef the second time. Okay. So that's now got the forward edge, the luff of the sail, hard, nice and tight. Now we got to do something with the clew or the stern of the sail. Let's go back now. And that's what. Oh, maybe I can do it actually. Now we got the same thing on this side. See these two lines here?
Okay.
They go back. See them back there? You see them tight around the boom back there?
Yes.
So that now hardens down the clew. As
Okay.
I pull this, it'll harden the clew down. That then hardens down the stern of the sail or the clew of the sail.
And it'll be the same. The black is reef one.
Yep.
And those are going
identical the same.
through the boom and then up?
Yeah, they just go through the boom, up through the kringle, just like the
Okay.
kringle you see here. And slightly back, it pulls it down and slightly back the way I have it set up. Okay? back.
Here. Sorry.
And then the last couple things we can do. Topping lift. Anybody want to take a shot at what the topping lift is? Topping lift.
It's the one that we used to pull the dinghy.
No, that was the spinnaker line. We'll get into that in a second.
Okay.
So topping lift. What holds the boom up right now? The sail is down. What's holding the boom up? Oh wait, that was easy. Topping lift. Right. That's what holds the boom up. Now I have it set up in such a way that when I harden the sail up, whether I reef or full sail, it actually, once we get the sail up, it actually brings the boom enough that the topping lift goes slack. Because you want that topping lift to be eased, or it will impede the shape of the sail. All right. I have it set up that when you raise it, the topping lift goes slack, so it doesn't impede the shape of the sail, even when I reef it. But if you're uncertain, when you have the sail up, you feel that, and if that's tight, then you want to ease it a bit. So, and then when you go to bring the sail down, you got to harden it again, because that's the only thing that keeps the boom up from hitting this thing. All right. The next thing is spinnaker halyard. I do have an asymmetrical spinnaker on the boat. So with the asymmetrical spinnaker, the line goes up to just below the forestay, and it's for raising a spinnaker. And I have other rigging too to put a spinnaker on. Does anybody know what a spinnaker is?
It's
It's the big sail if the winds are really low, right?
And you're going down, more or less down.
More or less downwind, yes. Yes. The ASIM is a little better where you can sail a little closer to being reached than that. But again, it's more for going downwind. So the ASIM, so I have the tack, clue, and the spinnaker actually has, let me get this right, the head to lift the sail, and then basically two tacks, that depending whether you're on a port or starboard downwind, fasten it. An asymmetrical has a tack and a clue, where the tack is fastened at the foot of the sail, and then the clue you can actually tack it back and forth with new lines, with lines that are separate from the jib line. We haven't even talked about the jib yet. We're going to talk about that in a minute. All right. So, and then we also use that to drop the dinghy off because it's not being used right now. Okay. Spinnaker down. That's used when I put the spinnaker up, and it's just a spare one here. All right. So now let's talk about the jib sheets. So we don't have to raise, because the jib is a roller furling, we don't have to raise the sail. I do that at the start of the season, and I drop it down at the end of the season, unless it needs some fine-tuned adjustment. Okay, it is that blue rolled up line there at the mast. Once it's in place, you just leave it. So then the only things you have to worry about is the jib sheets. The sheets are the one just like the main sheet to manage the boom. The jib sheets manages the slew and the shape of the sail. All right. So there is a starboard jib sheet and a port jib sheet. And again, that raises a sheet. Now, how do we reef for a jib sheet or foresail?
Just furl it.
You furl it or unfurl it, just so much. Right? Like today, with the winds we got today, we went full sail. But usually you just furl it. I have a couple marks there. Like say there's reef 1, reef 2. So a little bit of, or it's really heavy winds, you don't let any of it out. Or you have it out, no mainsail out. Depends on the direction of the wind, the waves, all that stuff. I don't expect you to, well, when we use this, when we use that. I don't want to confuse it right now. There is different ways of managing it. Right? So that's basically in a nutshell all the lines is here. Is that helpful?
Yeah.
So they get an idea of what everything is for now?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.